welcome back to my channel. I thank you for taking the time to be able to go on this sewing journey with me. If you are new to my channel, take the time to hit the subscribe button underneath and let's start. So I told you guys that I have been walking through the golden rule, and with that, if you don't know what it is, the golden rule is a system that says you should be able to take your bust measurement and your hip measurement and be able to go through the patterns that they supply you, which are these tiny patterns, and you're able to create a actual size pattern to be able to fit you just using those two measurements. Now, I do want to say, because I know people are saying, you're talking about the golden rule a lot. I am not sponsored by them. I saw the system. I've been sewing now for, it's been some years. I've been sewing now for years, and I have used all the big four patterns. I wanted to try something different. So I started my YouTube page to kind of walk you guys through this journey, because I know a lot of you out there are seeing the golden rule coming to the US and you definitely have some questions. So in my last couple of videos, I've been talking about what my plans were when it came to this system. So I have been working on these patterns. I plan to do the jacket, the shirt, and these pants. Now I will tell you that even though I'm doing this jacket, I do plan to change the sleeve. I have plans for the sleeve. I like the jacket, but I don't want the circle part of the sleeve. I'm just planning to change it. So I will be doing that. So far in the last couple of videos, I've told you guys my plans. I told you guys how to actually draft the pattern. I didn't do like a walkthrough tutorial because of the fact that so many people out there are doing them now, and most of you guys, if you're like me, you want to know if the system works. You've seen pictures. You don't know people who are in their house like me. I am in my sewing studio that is attached to my house. I work. I have my company 513, which I do sew garments where I make my own patterns, but I do love using the big four patterns to sew for myself. So I know you're wondering if this system works. And like I said, I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not getting paid for it. I'm not getting anything for it. I'm just wanting to be able to show you and share with you my experience through this sewing journey. So let's get started. I told you guys that I am going to use muslin to be able to do my first pattern of the golden rule. And the reason that is, I use muslin because it's easier for me to get the fit that I want without messing up my main fabric. And you're probably wondering what muslin is. Muslin is all cotton. This particular muslin has no stretch. If you're trying to get an idea of what the fabric will look like with the pattern that you're using, I would suggest you get either muslin that has the same weight and feel of your pattern with the same fabric content, or go to Joann's and find a cheap piece of fabric that has the same weight, content, if it's stretch, non-stretch, whatever it is, and it's something that you can easily try your pattern on and toss or make marks on. A lot of times I have clients who come to the studio and I've made a full mock-up of their design, and I'm able to write on the actual fabric what I need to do. So if I need to take it in an inch, if I need to, you know, cut it off at the midsection at this point, I'm able to do that with muslin. And that's why I prefer to use muslin when I'm working with a pattern that I've never done before, so I can make sure that I am getting the fit that I want. So definitely with golden rule, since I've never used them before, I definitely want to take the time to make sure that the pattern I'm going to use is going to work. So let's get started, guys. So as you see, my sewing studio is not that big. I love it though. So I've already completed the pieces for the shirt, and unfortunately I was looking around my studio, I do not have the muslin that I want to use for this project. This muslin is fine. It's the same weight. It's 100% cotton. So it is no problem using it. The problem is it's a lot of it. So what I'm going to do to save me some time, energy, and struggle, I'm actually going to go ahead and cut it so I can use the pieces I want off of it and be done. So I gotta find my scissors. I don't know, you guys always have this problem with finding the exact scissors that you want for the exact project. So I'm just going to cut this so I can move this out of my way. All right. So this big bulk of fabric is gone. Okay. So then I'm going to cut it again because I have this piece that is on the fold. So it's okay if I go ahead and cut this one. And I'm actually going to turn my lights on so it doesn't glare. It's a lot of light, people. There you go. So it doesn't glare where I'm trying to cut. Did I get stopped? I got stopped. All right. So that's done. So the first piece I'm going to work with is going to be the front piece. All right. So I don't have a lot of room on my cutting table, but it's my little sewing room, so I'm super excited about it. When we built our house, I told my husband that I didn't care about a pool, but I cared about a sewing room. So it's one thing that he made sure I got. All right. So this is my piece for the front of the shirt. So as you can see, I've already did my markings on it. It has its own markings because they tell you A goes with A, B goes with B, and that works if you're a beginner sewer because it tells you what order to sew everything with. For me, because I've sewed before, I really don't need it, but I will use it for the purposes of this video. So let me go back and do that. Let me mark where my A's are and my B's are. My green pen. All right, so for this one, so this one is going to be cut on the fold. And how do you know this? Is that if you use the symbol page, it tells you, and I'm trying to see if there you go, that it has these dashes right there. So that dash tell you that it's going to be cut on the fold. So I've marked that on my fabric. The other symbols that I'm going to bring over is the A. So I'm gonna put an A here. And then that is the only symbol they show. So I'm going to connect the A to the front. It's going to be my front piece that has the A on there and my back piece that has the A on there. To help me with my sanity a little bit, I went ahead and put notches in there because I know a lot of times the notches will help let you know what pieces are supposed to be sewn together. With this system, when they do the A and B and the areas, it's helped you to know how to sew them in what order. So I'm going to do the notches, and I'm going to leave that A in there, and let's get cutting. So because I have to cut this on the fold, I'm actually going to flip it over. Everything seems to be in my way. All right. Bring it down some so I don't cut anything. All right, I have my weights. So Mimi G actually taught me that trick of using the weights. I bought them from Lowe's, and they definitely has helped me in cutting my patterns, and you know. So I'll put that on the line. Make sure that's there. All right. So my fabric's smooth. I'm ready to cut. Now, I do use the rotator because it's easier to cut. So I'm gonna go. All right, so I like to mark my fabric with chalk because it's easier for me. So there's gathering in this, so I'm gonna go ahead and show that here, where it starts and where it stops. All right, and there is a notch at my shoulder, on my arm, where I have A is. I'm putting another knot. There's actually 2 notches on my side, but I'm putting another notch to show where my zipper is supposed to stop, because this pattern does have a zipper, and that is all the notches I need. I didn't need to lengthen the pattern, so I am done with the front, and it is ready. That's a little piece right there. To go to the sewing machine. So you definitely need to do it on both sides. I'm not really critical with this because I know I am going to be using it only as a mock-up. So I'm okay with going ahead and drawing on all sides. Now, even though this does not have a sleeve, it does have facings for the sleeve. All right, so this piece is ready to go to the machine. So what you need to do is also get your back piece, and we'll meet each other at the machine. So I did add seam allowance to this pattern, but what I did not think about when I actually did the pattern is that I did not have the right muslin to do what I wanted to do. So I am going to have to sew a seam in the back, which the back is also supposed to be on the fold. So that is my only hiccup. Sorry guys, but that is my fault and not the Golden Rule's fault, because I should have thought about that before I started to sew. But I am threading up my machine. I have already changed out my needle. There we go. That's better. All right, guys. I am to my sewing machine. I have threaded up my sewing machine. I have also switched out my needle. So it's one of the things that I've always have been told. Sewing is to make sure you switch out your needle after every project. And I'm like, that ain't necessary. Guys, it's necessary. So go ahead and make sure that you're switching out your needle after every project. Every project is not going to be the same. You're not using the same fabric. Your content in your fabric will be different. You may be using a stretch. You may be using a wool. You may be using a scuba. You need to have the right needle for the job, and you want to make sure your needle is sharp. Now, one of the mistakes I made when I was doing this is I forgot to cut on the fold for the back. So what I'm going to do is I made a seam in the back. It's easy fix. I am going to do a quick seam, and that is why, my friends, I make sure that I use muslin when I'm starting out a new project. So if I have any problems like this, I can fix it very easily. So, like I said, this is a mock-up. This is not something that I'm overly concerned about. I am really trying to make sure this fits before I get to my fabric that I want to use for this project. So I'm going to go ahead and put a seam down the back. I said it's very quick, nothing fancy. I'm not trying to do any finishes to my seams. Machine's probably mad at me. I haven't had much time to sew lately. All right. And I'm not back stitching because, like I said, this is not my main fabric. The only thing I want to do is make sure everything fits. But I am going to back stitch everywhere else just to make sure everything fits. So, as they tell you, right size facing. I am going to do A first. So my A's are my sides. So I've marked that. And normally I would use pins because I do not want my fabric going everywhere. But like I said, this is just my mock-up. So I'm going to make sure everything lines up. And for this particular project, your zipper is on the side. So I did mark, and you can't see because it's white, but I did do a mark here so I know that I want to start further down to put in a zipper. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm doing a video. Kids. All right, I am going to backspace here because, not backspace, I'm going to back stitch here because I want to be able to make sure it's going to work when I do the fitting for it. I'm not going to do it everywhere. I just did it where I have my zipper, and then same thing on the other side. And you guys want to make sure that you are, if you're new to sewing, that you're working on your straight lines, because that will be important You don't want your lines everywhere. I've learned that from the Sewing Academy and Mimi G. I remember practicing on the piece of paper to make sure my line's straight. Even though I knew how to sew before I started the Sewing Academy, it was just a good reminder of making sure that my lines are straight. All right, and believe it or not, folks, I am almost done with my mock-up. Like I said, it's a mock-up. I don't have to do all the finishings, the facings, or none of that because I just want to see about size. Now, I will say if you are new to sewing and you're trying to practice your facings, this would be a good opportunity to go ahead and cut out pieces to your facings and practice on your muslin. So it's easier and you can be able to mess up and it be okay. Believe me, I have messed up plenty of fabric in my day and had to throw away a lot of projects because I was rushing, because I was excited about sewing and I just wanted to get a project done, and I had things that were ill-fitted and it was just horrible. So I've learned over the years to take my time and do a project right. So I'm matching up my notches, and this will be the last seam I have to do. And I'm using, if you're curious, 5/8 of an inch. 5/8 of an inch. Ugh, I don't know what's wrong with me. To do my seam allowance. And you either can go ahead and put your seam allowance in your pattern when you first do it, or you can wait till you're on your fabric and add that in there. Just make sure that you remember to add that. All right, so we're in there, and yes, it's large because I'm a large girl. So the last thing we need to do on both sides of this is some gathering. So I'm going to start. Hold on just a minute, folks. I'm doing a video. Can you please go out until I get done? Like, people can see you right now.
Oh, do you know where Andy box at?
Well, can you wait till I finish and then I can come out? I'm doing a video. Thank you. I love kids. That actually is one of my nephews, and he's been here the weekend. And I enjoy spending time with them, which is one of the reasons why I haven't been in my summer room. So I'm gonna do a quick gather around my front. Now, your front, and go ahead and do this now, actually, you would need to cut part of your front because they're actually going to be buttons there, and the design is for you to have a little hole in the front. Not too sexy, very modest, but I'm going to do my gathers there at the front of that where the button is going to start. And I did remember to take the time to mark that on my mock-up before I got started. So I'm grabbing my threads, I'm pulling them out some so I can be able to pull my gathers. Now, there's several ways you can do gathers, and if you want, you definitely can comment below if you're new to sewing and you just want some advice on how to do some technical stuff. There's plenty of videos out there, but I definitely will give you my take on it. If I'm doing a lot of gathering, like tools, sometimes I have to do it for dresses, I'm definitely using my serger. There's a way to do it. It has a gathering foot. It makes it super easy, super, just, it helps your time, everything. I love it. But if I'm only doing like this gather in the collar of my shirt, I'm going to make it super fast, super easy. So you want to put it on your longest stitch, which for mine is 5. And then I pulled out my string some so I can have some hanging off and I can be able to pull when I'm done. So this should not take me long. And you guys, I'm definitely not an expert in sewing. I will love to share what I've learned over my time in sewing with you guys. So if you ever have any questions about some technical things, I definitely could help you out with that, because I will say that about the golden rule, it doesn't tell you what do you do with your facing that you did not attach to your garment. How do you sew that? So there's different ways to do it, and like I said, there's plenty of videos out there, but if you ever have any questions or want me to do a short video on how to do something, just please let me know. All right, so my gather is done. I am going to, so technically you were supposed to have 2 lines. So do line 1, and then 1/4 away from it, do 2. But like I said, this is a mock-up. Just want to make sure the sizing is right. So I'm only going to do 1 and do it very loosely so it fits what I need it to do. Okay. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is taking so long. But just keep going, because eventually you're going to spread it out when you do your gathers for the facing piece for the gather, and it's your collar for your neck. So you do have 3 other pieces besides the front and the back. You have the facing for your button. For the front of this, there's a facing piece to it that you make. There's a facing for your arm, and then there's a piece that goes with your gathers. So, all right, guys, that is it. I know it was a lot of me talking, but, and both of my nephews interrupting, but that is it. And we've made it. So I am going to stop and change and put this on and see if it fits. All right, I'll be back. Okay, guys, I was able to try it on. There are some things I want to fix on it. I know you guys are like, didn't you have a white muslin? This is actually a garment I had for one of my clients that is no longer needing it. So this garment is going to be for me. It's actually a man's shirt, but I love it. So let me put it on. Now, for the most part, it did fit. I am going to put some more, sticking up, I see it. I am going to put some more ease in there. I know y'all didn't want to see it on me. I'm going to put some more ease in the garment, because the garment I have for this blouse is non-stretch. So I want to make sure that I have all the ease I want in it. Get it on here. Anybody just me? It's always the girls. They never want to do what they're supposed to do. All right, that's on. That's the girls. So this is a part I'm gonna put a little bit more ease, but once it gets on, it kind of fits nice. It's just getting it on. I may increase my zipper area over here to give me a little bit more help in that area. As you see, it's already started tearing. All right. So this, can't twist it like I need to. There you go. Girl don't want to show off for y'all today. So this part of the problem, like, I need to add to my hips. Yes. Uh-huh. We're never going to get through this tonight. Okay. So, things I want to change is that on me, I did see that there's gaping in my breast area. So, this is where my zip is supposed to be. Hit that real quick. I can get a hold of my pen with my nails in. All right. So, because it's gonna be my zipper. It does well because when I did this mannequin, the hips are bigger, so it's not as bad in the hip area, but I do have this gaping that I want to fix, so I'm going to go in and put a dart in. And like I said, I don't have all them hips. That's never been a problem for me. And on the side, like I said, same side, I am going to add a dart to help with that gaping. But other than that, I really didn't have, I'm bigger than my dress form, but I didn't have a problem. My button will go there. And like I said, I'm going to fix this to make it a little wider out. But guys, it worked. It did fit. Did it fit perfectly? No. I have not found a piece of clothing yet outside of what I've made that fits my body perfectly, because I know my body. So there are small adjustments that I'm going to make, and I'm going to make it on the muslin and transfer it to my pattern. So then when I cut out my pattern, everything's already in place. So guys, if you have any questions, please let me know. I will show you the final garment later on this week when I get time to go back in the sewing room. And it was great spending time with you guys. I thank you and have a great day.